Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's B. Avery with Just My Opinion.
And I'm the Midnight Rambler, Malcolm Toussaint.
And we're here with you tonight for our spoiler-filled review / opinion on 300 Rise of an Empire. And yes, if you did hear me correctly, I did say spoilers because we're going to talk spoilers as if you've already seen 300 Rise of an Empire. We're going to talk spoilers up, down, left, right, in, and out. So, if you haven't seen 300 Rise of an Empire yet and you don't want to be spoiled, I strongly suggest you turn the video off now. You can put it in that watch later list, come back later. And with that being said, you have been warned. All right, guys, you should know how it works by now. We just got back from the theater. I don't know how he feels. He doesn't know how I feel, but we're going to talk about it. So let's talk about it. General impressions of 300 Rise of an Empire. You want to go first? You want me to go first? I'm going to let you pick.
I go first.
Okay, go first. Go first. General impressions. Let everybody know what you think.
I really liked it. Very rare for me.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I don't like too many films that come out in the theater, but that was just as epic as the first one.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I beg to differ, sir. In my opinion, it wasn't as epic as the first one.
Mm-hmm.
It was still epic. And to be honest, I really enjoyed the film, especially on the ride home, just thinking about it. But honestly, I was still slightly disappointed. And I will get to that a little later on. It was still good. The action was great. The director was different. The character was great. I thought some of the motivation behind, their plot was a little weak. I liked it, but overall, I just, I want to say the scale was drawn back for me just a little bit. I don't know. I mean, I still enjoyed it, but I was a little disappointed, and I'll get to why. And that's my own fault because of my own expectations. And sometimes you have to keep those expectations in check. So my expectations were, they ran out in front of me a little too much, and I wasn't able to catch up. But you liked it much more than I did.
Clearly,
sounds like it. I mean, I didn't hate the film. I liked it. I just didn't like it as much as the first one. But what were your expectations?
Okay, that was the thing. Like, I didn't expect too much at all. I was like, they're rehashing this franchise. They're gonna milk it dry. I don't see any some no big name actors on it. So I'm like, okay, they're just gonna try to get as much money as they can. Another 3D movie coming out in January, February. So I didn't expect too much from it.
Well, initially when I heard that they were coming out with a new 300, I thought, okay, that'd be kind of cool. I don't know how they can top the first one because they came out in 07. I think it was March of 07. No, I think it was 07. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was 07. If I'm wrong, correct me. 300 was a game changer. It was. 300, it changed the game. I love everything about the first one except, I did want more fighting. I did feel like a little let down, like, damn, okay, I just want a little bit more beat ass because, even though they did give it to us, it took them a long time to get to it, in my opinion. But now when I heard they was doing, part 2, or I didn't know what it was, a prequel, sequel, in-betweequel, whatever, I was like, okay, that'll be pretty good. Then I found out Zack Snyder wasn't directing it, and some guy named Noam Murrow, which I've never heard of before. He did another movie called Smart People. And then, this is his real first big movie. When I found out Zack Snyder wasn't attached, I was like, nope, I don't want to see it. Stop it. Throw it in the trash. I just wasn't interested. Because I'm not saying that all films, when they have sequels and, part 3 and 4, that the director has to always be the same. But I do appreciate that. One for, just cohesiveness and knowing the team you're working with, and just you want the same feeling and tone. So I wasn't excited about it for a while. But about a month or two ago, Zack Snyder and his wife, they released Warner Brothers released a 4-minute featurette, breaking down where this story takes place. Because I always thought that it was just going to pick up literally right where the first one left off, when they were having that charge.
Oh, like a chapter 2.
Yeah, a chapter 2. And then I found out the story of Rise of an Empire is that it takes place before, during, and after the events of 300. and that really piqued my interest. And even still, in the years before this went into production, they didn't know which way they wanted to go into it. I remember a few years ago, it was rumors about a movie titled Xerxes, where it was going to be strictly about him, and I thought that was really interesting. So my expectations were extremely low, but when I did see that 4-minute featurette, I got excited. I got on board. The first trailer was okay to me. The second trailer was amazing. So I went into this with, my expectations damn near through the roof. I wanted to see more Spartans beat ass, and I didn't get that. Wow. So because there was no Spartans fighting in it. It was just Athenians.
I didn't expect that at all. So that wasn't a letdown for me. But I'm a little shocked though. I mean, Zack Snyder did write it. Yeah. And I feel like he did a really good job. More so than some of his other films. He's always done a great job writing. Yeah. To me, I mean, I wasn't the biggest fan of Sucker Punch. It wasn't.
Oh no, nobody was. Don't feel bad. No. There was one scene in that movie when they was on the train, like in the shuttle or whatever, fighting those cyborgs. That was like the only scene in the whole movie I liked.
Yeah.
If you watch John Campy's AMC Movie Talk, shout out to you, John. He always makes jokes to where if you play that movie and put it on mute, it's amazing. I have to agree with you there, sir. I didn't like it either, but go ahead. I cut you off.
No, I mean, he did a really good job with the script. Like, everything came back around. I mean, everybody's story. It wasn't too many things that just really stood out as far as, like, the actual story to me. Now, you said you had some issues. So
yeah, I did have some issues. But before I get into that, I mean, something that they did do well, they gave you a long prologue in the beginning with a long narration by the Spartan Queen. I forget her name from the first one. She did a great job in the first one. She did a great job in the second one. Mm-hmm. One of my first gripes that I was starting to, it was compelling me was I was, for a second, I kind of felt they were jumping around too much. I mean, I understand why they had to do that, but it was just, okay, let's focus on one group of people, first, before I just didn't really know who to focus on. Something else that stood out for me is I feel like they changed the voice of two very important characters. One, Xerxes. I don't know whether it's sound mixing or sound editing, because I know there is a difference between those. But his voice seemed, it just didn't seem the same as the first one. In the first movie, he didn't really seem human at all. I mean, he kind of seemed like a god in a way, just the way he carried himself and the mannerisms, especially his voice. I mean, it just didn't sound human. He sounded like he was possessed. And in part two, Rise of an Empire, he just sounded more human to me. It wasn't the same. If when this comes out on Blu-ray, if you compare the two, there will be a difference. And
yeah, he wasn't as intense this time around.
No, I mean, I was like, God. I mean, I didn't even want him in the first one where Leonidas and him met up for the first time. When they met, and he put his hands on his shoulders like this, and he was talking to him. I mean, that was like creepy to me. I'm like, I don't even want this dude touching me. I just didn't really get that. From part two here. Yeah. Also, F. Yelty's voice was slightly different. I even think his makeup was different. I know that was like 7 years ago, but his voice was completely different. Like Leonidas, he just didn't sound like that. He just sounded like a normal person.
That eye bothered me.
Yeah, it did. It bothered me too. But another gripe that I do have, I really didn't care for how Xerxes came into a god king. I kind of wish they would have drew that out a little bit more. I thought it was pretty brief. He was distraught because his father, what's his name, Damien? Was it Darius? King Darius got shot in the chest with an arrow. And of course, like he said, Eva Green's character, Artemisia, was, said he was mourning for 7 days. She whispered some motivation to his ear, and they gave him some potions and got all the witches and mystics and all, from around the city, souped them up and let him wander around in the desert. And he went to some mystic cave with some more magic people or whatever, and he went into a pit, and then and then he came back up and he was all golden. He went down normal with little rags, and he came back out with all these jewels and stuff. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. I look a little bit into Greek mysticism, so it didn't really bother me. I mean, it's
I mean, it wasn't. It just. I wanted to be drawn out more. I mean, it was just too brief for me. Something else that I really didn't understand was they said, "Am I pronouncing it right, Artemisia?" I don't think I am. I think I'm butchering that name.
I think that's it.
But anyway, she was Greek. She had Greek blood, but she said she had a Persian heart, and she couldn't stand the Greeks because they raped and murdered her family.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, the Greeks were murdering Greeks. I mean, I know it's a big country or whatever, and you have all these different states. Or I'm doing a horrible job of breaking that geography down. But I mean, like it was Greeks killing Greeks. So I mean, why was the Greeks killing her own people if they were all Greek? I didn't understand that.
Yeah, they didn't really explain why exactly, but.
I mean, I understand, if somebody killed, rapes and murders your family in front of you, yeah, you're going to be pretty pissed and, want to, seek some vengeance and revenge. So
yeah, I think that was something that was a little bit lacking. Like, why exactly did they choose her family, her group, to murder and kill?
Right. I mean, she had Greek blood. I'm assuming her mother and father and family were Greek, and then they were murdered by Greeks. So, in the worst way of all, I mean, goodness gracious. I mean, the way that, the way they displayed it was nice. It was crazy. I just didn't understand that.
So what did you think about her overall?
I think she did a fantastic job.
She did.
Eva Green, thumbs up to you. You did a fantastic job as the lead actress in this film. I really felt, I don't know. She was, I don't know. She just seemed like she was poisonous. And, it was like, it was one scene where she was kissing, I can't say his name.
Themistocles.
I can't butcher his name. Themistocles. Once she was kissing him, it seemed like a vein of poison was like going down her cheek or something. I don't know. Just good makeup. But I thought she did a really good job. She was a great villain, especially for, not trying to sound sexist here, but, for a woman that's going around leading men. And, to be so convincing, I think she did a great job.
Yeah. Now, I'm not going to lie. At the very beginning, when they were like, oh, her beauty and all this and that, I was like, she's okay.
Yeah, I didn't really
kind of threw me off at the very beginning.
She was an attractive woman, had some nice breasts, because they did show that as well. But, she was power hungry, bloodthirsty. Yeah. And she just did a good job. I mean, when she, I was really impressed with the scene when they was on the boat and she looked at she's like, hey, why would you, put your head down when you're, trying to, grace your leader here, or do you not know any better, or is it just lack of discipline? She's like, let me look at your hands. Hands can tell me anything about someone. I know all of my slaves in service on this ship, but why don't I know you? And then we ended up seeing that he was a spy, and I just loved that whole scene.
Whatever happened to him? That was my one thing that kind of left me scratching my head. He just jumped in the water.
Yeah, and
shooting with the bow and just disappears under the water.
I was assuming that he was the same guy that got shot with the arrow 3 times and died in front of his son.
I think so,
I think that was the same person, but it just wasn't too clear for me.
Yeah, he just escaped in the great abyss of the ocean,
right,
and went back to his people and let them know what was going on. And I was like, okay.
Let me continue to go with my dislikes because I liked it overall. I just want to go ahead and get those out the way. Something I liked about the first one is, we have Spartan. You have Greece, but the elite race or a group of people in the Hall of Greece is Sparta. The Spartans. Mm-hmm. They're the elite fighting force, alpha males, led by Leonidas. I mean, they just kick ass. That is what they're born to do, is beat ass and just kill and take names, all of that. No one is some more superior to them. But the part 2 is, it's like the scale was drawn back because we don't see the best of the best. We see nothing but Athenians fight, who they admitted are not fighters. They're farm hands. They were talked down in the first one. I mean, I'm a potter. I'm a sculptor. Yes, the fighting that they showcased in this film was great, especially by the main character, the MacLeod.
You got it, cool. Just roll with it.
Yeah. I mean, when he had his shield and his sword in his hand, he was one with that shield and sword, even with his helmet. But it wasn't the best of the best. How do you go in part 2 that's either supposed to surpass the first one or at least be on the same level of epicness, but you draw it back, And we didn't see any Spartans fight
Okay.
until the very end when it was the closing credits. So that was a complaint of mine.
That's your
I
complaint?
did want to see more Spartans. I do appreciate the different perspective that they gave us. How the Spartans were fighting over here in the first film, and then the Athenians are fighting over here. I mean, I like that. They did a nice job of tying it all together. I just wanted more badassness from some Spartans, and we didn't get that.
Okay, I respect it. I disagree. I feel like I liked it more this time because they were more,
More
realistic. It was more realistic. This is how soldiers are. You got kids, coming out of high school. People that really don't belong. They just going. They going to fight for their country.
I'll give you that.
So
I'll give you that.
most people that have ever went to war, never died in war, haven't been trained since they were, babies to be soldiers. So.
Right. I give you that, and that's why I say that I was disappointed. It's my own fault with my expectations.
Yeah,
because I wanted to go in there and see some Spartan King. I mean, but hold on, try to give me credit here. The way the first one ended, there was like, okay, we have it's 30,000 Greeks led by 10,000 Spartans, so it was a army of 40,000 Greeks, and they were charging. So I'm thinking, hell yeah, that's how it's gonna start off right there. We're gonna see that scene. And we found out that this one still hasn't led up to that there's possibly going to be a third one.
Yes.
I mean, there has to be a third one. If there's not a third one and you just cut it off here, I would be very disappointed.
No, there will be. I'm pretty sure there will be.
I'll be really disappointed. I mean, do you have any dislikes yourself?
Just a couple of little things like that kind of bother me, but nothing too major that I can think of.
Something else, just a little nitpick of mine. What they did was, at some shots, they showed you the whole scale of how many single men were there to fight, or how many ships they had. But when they all came together, some of the battles just seemed a little secluded. Especially on the end when they rushed the ship
with the horse.
Yeah, I kept just. I mean, I did like that with the horse, how the camera didn't break. But I kept thinking to myself, okay, there's like 50 ships over here and 50 ships over here to the left and to the right. What are those guys doing? I mean, why aren't they firing the bow and arrows at the
oh my
oncoming
gosh?
ships?
Okay, I like that. That's my pet peeve.
There had
a
few. There was a few. That happened a few times. And when they're just sitting there and they let them ram them, why are you not shooting arrows?
Bruh.
I mean, the arrows are not going to bring down the whole ship.
Mind.
But I mean, at least try to take out 5 to 10 men per ship. But they're just waiting. They're just sitting there, okay. Here they're coming. They're about to hit us. Yeah, but we're not going to do anything. We're just going to stand here and let them hit us.
That really threw me off because
I don't understand.
It worked at the very beginning. It worked. I'm like, oh, should they go get their ass kicked? But it's just the bow and arrows. I don't even have to do too much, like hand to hand. And all of a sudden, through the rest of the movie, you didn't really see it as much. And I was like, why are they not using more bow and arrows?
Exactly.
That just makes more sense.
Exactly.
That was my one major pet peeve with this movie. Why not just use more bow and arrows?
Now, don't get us wrong. And you've seen this. I mean, yeah, they did use bow and arrows, but at some points. But I mean, they didn't use it, to its full extent.
Yes.
And when I see someone fighting, whether it's 1-on-1 or 1,000 on 1,000, I want to see everyone engage. I want to see everyone in that battle engage, giving 100%. What just stood out for me is Transformers: Dark of the Moon, when the whole battle was going on and Megatron was sitting there in Indian style the whole time. What the fuck are you doing? Get up and fight. He was sitting there the whole time. It just really bugged me. Kind of the same thing here. I mean, when they rushed with one ship towards the end, and they had Artemisia had at least 50 ships. No one on the other ships was doing anything. They just were just sitting there, and that bugged the hell out of me.
Yeah, I agree.
But those are all of my dislikes, even though that may have sound like a lot. And go ahead and grab it real quick. I'm going to have to drink this water because my throat is going
dry. So I loved Eva Green, her character, who was also in Dark Shadows.
I missed that one.
Okay.
I heard it sucked.
But it was a dark character. Like, it was I feel like it was an easy transition. Just that the mode, the movie, like the the tone. But anyway, and then Sullivan Stapleton Thermocules, he was in Animal Kingdom, which I loved, and also he did a good job in Gangster Squad. But he's still not a huge name yet. That's the one thing I was like, can he really carry this lead? and he
My
really
brother
did
said the same thing.
he did a great job.
Yeah.
I was
He
shocked.
did for an Athenian, Yeah.
Yeah, I mean he wasn't,
just the ultimate badass. He wasn't no
but
Leonidas.
okay, here's the thing. You're not gonna agree with me, I'm pretty sure, but I feel like that was the best character introduction, like badass character introduction since Bane, the MacLeod. Like the way he was presented with that blue robe, he was just kicking ass and taking names. I loved it.
Yeah, I can't give you that one. As far as next thing to Bane, I mean it was cool, but I just wasn't like blown away.
I was like, who was this?
You know, I mean he was cool. I mean something they did do really well was distinguishing the difference between Spartans and Athenians, as far as like their bulk and size, of course red and blue, and then like just how cut they were. I mean they just, I don't know, man, they just did a really good job there. I mean the Athenians really looked like just normal people that just picked up a sword. Excuse me, opposed to Spartans that were born, that came out the womb with one. So the camera work was very nice as well.
Yes.
Especially the choreography. There were a lot of long shots that didn't break. I don't know how they did that, but I'm sure they have their camera tricks and all that in Hollywood. But they did a really good job there of just showing a soldier just, standing his ground, really not moving his feet, and him attacking someone this way and attacking someone this way, and just going back, but keeping the camera there, but having the bad guys come in from all these directions, and you just don't know where. Just did a really good job. I mean, they, I was actually surprised by how well they were fighting. As compared to how weak they looked in the first film, because that one guy was all whining and crying like, "Oh, what are we gonna do? The hunchback betrayed us. We have to retreat." Leonidas like, "Man, stop being a bitch and mount up." So they made him kind of look weak in there, but they held their own in this one. And one thing I really did also like was the cinematography.
Yes.
I did not know who did it. I didn't bother to look it up, but they did a really good job of when they were showing the Athenians and the Spartans and just Greece, just the color palette. It just seemed like a lot of sunlight, and it was just beautiful. But with the Persians, everything was dark and gloomy and pale, and just eerie. And, they just did a good job, bouncing back and forth with that. That really stood out for me.
Some of the costume design was great. But the thing that stood out most to me out of anything in the movie was the overall sound design. That was some of the best sound design I can remember in a film. The score, everything just worked so well.
If there was even an instant where I thought I was going to get bored, some nice trumpet or trombone or whatever, came in and lifted my spirits. It was a nice score too. I didn't bother to look that up, but as the plot takes place, before, during, and after the events of 300. And I thought that was, they, just gave us a different perspective.
Yeah, a darker tone.
Than, what I expected. How did you feel about that sex scene between Eva Green?
Okay, so people laughed in the theater. I liked it. It was like a battle scene to me. The way it was shot, I was like, wow, like how did they do that?
Yeah, they were battling while no one wanted to be submissive to the other one. I mean, they just...
Well... She might have wanted to be a little bit submissive. Well, they were going back and forth.
Yeah,
they were going back and forth.
She's like, "No, I'm going to fuck you," and she's like, "No, I'm going to fuck you." I mean, it was a battle. I was saying to myself, "Okay, man, he just going. Of course, she's trying to seduce him. To bring him over to the dark side." I'm like, "Man, go ahead and bust your nut, finish, and then kick her ass to the curb and see her on the battlefield." And that's exactly what he did. He talked a little too much shit at first. I would have got out of there first. I would have got on the plank or something and been like, "Oh, fuck you, bitch," and then jumped off. He was still, down below deck. But I did like that. I liked that a lot. So,
Yeah, that was It was pretty good love/battle scene. I liked it a lot.
It was. What else? I mean, there's really nothing else I want to. No. Okay. Something that I did not understand. When they found out that, the 300 with Leonidas had fallen, and they found out that Ephialtes betrayed them, he was in Greece, and that's when, God, I cannot say his name to save my life. What? I cannot pronounce his name. Themistocles.
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 Is that what it is? Did I say it wrong?
I don't know. I feel embarrassed that I'm not able to say that. That guy.
Yes, Themistocles.
Themistocles. He confronted him, and I wish he would have killed him. But then all of a sudden, Ephialtes went all the way back to Xerxes. I'm like, how did you get over there so fast? I mean, why are you able to travel that fast, but the army is taking forever to get there? And also with the Spartan Queen, was that Leonidas' body that was burning there? When
I was thinking that.
I don't understand that, because at one point they showed that the Persian army was marching over the 300 bodies. So you had to somehow pass that whole Persian army to get the bodies.
I thought it was more of like in remembrance of. I mean, I didn't.
Maybe. Yeah, you probably.
I don't know.
Right.
I didn't think the body was in there, but I thought it was like, this is kind of like when you cremate somebody, you just have a picture, like they're just burning some wood. Yeah. I don't know.
I guess. But let me see here. I like the characters, except for Ephialtes' Xerxes' voice. That was very annoying to me, how they changed it. It just wasn't the same from the first one.
He wasn't as creepy.
Yeah, he just wasn't as creepy to me. I mean, she even had some talk back. I mean, she was right with what she said.
I was surprised. Yeah.
So I'm the one to put the crown on your child's head,
But she said it while she was walking away.
Yeah. No. Well, yeah, and then he slapped her, and then he was like, won't you just sit here, and be protected by what I'm doing? And he just, sat there like a female, and just took it out. That was a little surprising to me. But she was my favorite out of the bunch. Out of the whole
yeah, she did a great
movie,
job.
She did a great job.
Really great job.
As a female villain. She was able to fight. She trained hard. She was just able to kick ass. I wasn't expecting all that from her.
I did expect her. I mean, she did a great job, but I just expected someone a little bit more, with a little bit more sex appeal. But that's a minor complaint. It's no big deal. She,
No, I just don't think she's your type.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I didn't really look at her like that either until she started smashing on old boy, in the boat, and I was like, okay, she kind of got a little shape to her, hey, what's up, Eva Green, what's up? But no, I mean, she did a great job. Even the Athenians kind of surprised me. It was great choreography. Yes. Even though sometimes, when they show the charge and the crash, it was all these ships and bodies, but when it got close, it didn't seem like anyone else was involved. I like the tactics and strategy that they used with the boats in the mist, and how they had them all the boats running together and crash, and the Athenians were jumping from the cliff tops, and
yeah, that got me excited. That scene.
For the most part, it did feel like we were in the same world as the first one, but I could tell that there was a director's change. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but I can just tell.
How so? What did you see? What's different?
Just the way the camera was. Just the way it was shot. I mean,
it's a cinematographer, but
no, that's not the cinematographer. Is the color, the way it looks on screen, but. Actually, I shouldn't argue with you on that.
It's cool.
Let me take that back. He knows more than me in that area. I mean, I just couldn't. I could tell the difference slightly. I can't really pinpoint it, but I mean, I could tell it was a different director. I mean, he did a great job. I mean, I consider this his first real effort. That's just my opinion. But I had a few nitpicks. Overall, I liked it though.
Yeah.
I'm dancing with a number here.
Well, okay, I'll put some things out there. I liked. The first one was epic. Like, I think it was because it was so new, it was so fresh to us. Yeah. And so this one, of course, is coming, damn near
7 years.
7 years later. Like, okay, let me do it again. But it was, I think, overall, even with the gripes about the fighting and what else are they doing around you, like I think the fighting, like camera work was better. I think the overall sound design was a little bit better. I liked. I like the Themistocles a lot.
Yeah, he was cool.
I liked her character, Artemisia.
Yeah.
Artemisia. So man, I won't say it's better than the first, but it did a lot of things that I liked better than the first one.
Same here. I had my gripes. I did like Themistocles and Artemisia. They were great. The fighting was well choreographed. They left me on another cliffhanger, that was disappointing. I stopped doing that. If you're gonna make a third one, just close it out. It would have been nice to see some battles on land, but it was just all boats. I mean, which is fine. You're just trying to keep it fresh. I mean, you've heard my likes and dislikes. Overall, if I had to, well, first I want to say I do like the first one better.
Okay.
I just, the first one that was like a 9 out of 10 for me. The only thing I wanted there was nothing wrong. I just wanted more fighting. That's it. Because the last real fight was a montage before they sacrificed themselves. So I just want a little bit more. But if I had to give a number to this, I would give it a 7 out of a 10.
Wow.
Actually, hold on. 7.5. I'll give it a 7.5.
I'm changing in spite of me.
No, I'm just, and mind you guys, we just got back from the theater. These are our first impressions, first reactions. So once you see my other video, the non-spoiler one, I've already recorded this one. I haven't written my review yet, so it may change, and I'm thinking, but as of now, it is a 7.5.
Fair enough. Well, it was a lot of things that I liked a lot about this movie, and I've already went over those. A few things here and there that kind of threw you off, like the guy jumping in the ocean. Why didn't they throw the bow and arrows? But, I wanted to see him fight anyway, so I wasn't too upset. I mean, this is easily a 9 out of 10 for me.
Oh, easily. Well, there you go, guys. You've heard Malcolm's opinion, and you heard mine, too. We would love to hear yours as well. So comment in that comment section below. Whether you agree or disagree with us, it doesn't matter. It just, all that matters is if you had a great time at the theater, because all films are subjective. Now, if you would like to find me online, you can at Instagram, at Twitter, at JustMyOpinion84, or Facebook.com/JustMyOpinion.
You can find me on Instagram, MTOOG, or Twitter, Malcolm, number 2, the letter G. Or you can look for me on Facebook too, but I'm mostly on Instagram and Twitter.
All right, well, there you go, guys. Let us know what you think in that comment section below. Comment, give us that thumbs up, click on that subscribe button, become one of our subscribers so you can get all the content we have to offer in the past, present, and in the future. So excited for things coming up. So share it with the world, because we don't mind. And before you go, don't forget that my name is B. Avery. And that's just my opinion. Peace. Man, you really gave it a 9. That's what's up. That's what's up. AC gave it a 13. He said a 13 out of a 10. But I can't. Yeah, This is my own expectations. That's what messed it up.